What is going on, guys? Welcome to this week's edition of Talking Decay, a Walking Dead podcast. I am Soldier Only.
I be the one and only Fuchsia here as well.
All right, this is our
spoiler cast.
Yeah. Needless to say, we'll put it up right up front. Spoilers, right? Yes. So if you're not caught up, if you didn't watch last night's episode of The Walking Dead, viewer discretion advised.
Right. I know when we were doing it on audio only, we had our little spoilers where you were able to know, but you never know. So
yeah, so this season, this is our first season of streaming it live.
Yes.
Last season, like you said, it was just audio.
So much has happened.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say too, because we did do a quick episode last week, kind of previewing, kind of going over last season and then previewing. Yeah.
From what we could remember, which wasn't as much as we thought once we were catching up on the marathons. But it just...
Yeah, we did catch up on a lot of the marathons over this week.
That was the majority
especially
of
the
what
weekend.
was on all weekend. Even when we weren't paying attention to TV, it was Walking Dead.
Well, they did what I told you they were going to do. They literally rerun the whole series, like, leading up to...
They're going to get it to a point where they do a marathon for a full week before Sunday.
They're at that. That's how long this was.
No, they didn't start the marathon till like Thursday. Because they were doing Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Which I heard they're actually going to do a crossover, so I kind of want to catch up on that one, because that's where we're slacking. We haven't really watched too much Fear the Walking Dead. I think we got maybe into the second episode, and then that newest one that was on, but we only saw like half of it. But I did hear they were doing a crossover, so I'm interested to see how that works, if it's really going to work, because of the timeline in each.
Yeah, it's got to be, because supposedly what it's going to be a character from The Walking Dead is going to be in Fear the Walking Dead. Because we know Fear the Walking Dead started when the outbreak first started, so it's like they're behind in the timeline unless there's been a time jump, which I don't know if there has or not. Because like you said, we only watched the first couple episodes, but.
It seems like in that most recent episode we've watched, it looks like there is a little bit of a time jump with what we did see when they were at like the farm.
Because time's gone on, obviously, right? You know, so...
Well, it's the same thing for Walking Dead, because each season you know that a certain amount of time has passed, whereas... Sometimes
not. I mean, there was that 9-month jump between 2 and 3, but...
Well, yeah, but I mean, even between episodes, it's not always guaranteed, but, like, every once in a while, whether it's between an episode or between a season, they'll have a jump that's a little bigger than the usual, but then it's, like, usually kind of going back into flashbacks, or how they did it with one of the episodes last season. They started with the end of the episode and then went back to... So it's, like...
Yeah. Because we have seen where time jumps. Speaking of time jumps, there was actually some kind of time jump and dream scenes or something kind of going on in last night's episode.
There was something there. There's definitely something there in what was going on with Rick, but
yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Yeah. So
it's gonna be hard to go in order of start to finish, because there's just so much going through my head that it's like I want to jump into the end of the episode. I'm like, wait, that part's not gonna make sense if I don't see this part first.
I know, that's why I'm doing that. So so let's start at the beginning. So last night was the season premiere, and it was also the 100th episode too of the show.
It was.
Which it's awesome. It's dope that it's gotten to that point, and it was awesome because they did a pretty big event. There was a live event. They had red carpets and all that. Talking Dead was live, a 2-hour live special, which we only watched an hour of it. We didn't watch.
I was gonna say, if we do get the chance, we should watch it just because we should.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because me and you always watch even Talking Dead religiously too. So
maybe Wednesday. We'll see. But yeah, it was a big.
Okay, so it started. Right even before we went to kind of even like the first commercial, it was like, oh, they're doing this now.
Yeah.
Because it started off on one of those things where the characters, you know, they knew what they were doing. You could tell they had a plan and that they were building up to something, but they don't let the viewer know. The viewer's kind of like, well, what are they doing?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, because they were like putting those barriers and armoring the cars and stuff, like you said, and then And then next thing you know, they pull right up to Sanctuary.
Well, it wasn't necessarily next thing you know. It was kind of a little delayed. It was one of the first few scenes was them putting the metal on the cars, and I turned to you as like combat vehicles. You know, they're going to war, and then one of the first ones that was really interesting was Dwight and what he did with the Arrow and Daryl.
Oh yeah, how they were passaging.
That's what it started out with, because we didn't know what to expect or where it was gonna go. So when it started, you start to see that Dwight is giving them information as to where each one of the lookout points are surrounding Sanctuary, that gives them so much power to be able, like, you know how they blocked them in the season finale, and they were just trying to get Maggie to a doctor.
Oh yeah.
See, so they were able to block them, and then not only that one, oh god, see, it's so much to like go in order. But I really loved how that was a slight redemption for me in my emotions towards Dwight. Because
a little bit, right?
Yeah. I still don't trust him. I think he's kind of a pansy, and there's a reason he has a scar on his face, but it's like he's trying. I think you're right. When
he
you
really
said
does
that
want
he is
Negan
genuine about wanting Negan to be no more.
But I can also see him once Negan, like, let's just hypothetically say they get rid of Negan, he's gone or whatever, then I could see Dwight still kind of being a thorn in the group's ass, kind of, you know, but...
I could see it being that way.
He wouldn't really have a reason to, but...
Well, it's kind of like Daryl stated before, after Dwight departed from the scene or from the area.
Last season's finale.
Yeah, that Daryl was even saying how he doesn't care if he's genuine, he's still gonna kill him after. You know, and I don't blame him, because it's like Dwight took his bike, Dwight took his crossbow, and
well, the thing that Daryl is pretty, I mean, he's pissed about that too, but a big thing is killing Denise.
Yes, that is a really big
and how Dwight even says, like, sorry, I wasn't aiming for her.
Yeah.
Because he was actually aiming for Daryl, you know?
So, and you know, knowing how far Daryl has progressed over the seasons, it's really hard for him not to just go straight after him. But I really like that aspect of him releasing all the lookout points, and it was nice to see their sneak attack on each one. It was so beautiful, and then it was like, okay, so what's going on? What are they doing?
What was dope about it is that we finally got to see our group be the badass this time, you know?
Oh god,
it was so nice.
glorious.
It was so nice to see. Remember, I even said something. I'm like, look at Rick, he's loving this.
Yeah. Oh god.
Because when he could tell they finally had Negan like kind of surprised.
Which you know, had he in another part when they do get to Sanctuary, there's so much more to come, but I'm gonna jump ahead for a second. When they do get to the part of Sanctuary and he's counting down, and you could just see that smirk on his face that he's pulling a Negan and counting down. Had he gone,
he only gets to 6 and then he starts unloading.
But had he turned his back to where he was kind of like this and had the gun behind the thing, he could have what's it?
What?
When he's counting, what gave Negan the tip to?
Oh yeah, because he cocked the the gun.
I forgot my words for a second, but I mean, like, had he kind of hidden behind the metal of the?
That's the thing. That's TV show stuff for you, because in the real world, someone as trained as like Rick, he would have had that done already, and he would have been ready to roll.
Exactly. But yeah, it was. And another thing I liked is the first few scenes that it was showing of Carol, Morgan, and Tara was just different areas where they're setting something up. You could tell they were hurting the walkers like they were in when they had to herd them away from Alexandria, because they were getting, and
that's what they're doing. They were leading
wolves,
them
when the wolves led them there. So it's that's when I knew. I was like, okay, they're going to. This is starting out the beginning of the war. Like it's
because that's the ad campaign they've been doing. They're calling this season All Out War, which is, if you know the comics, that was the series. There was a series within the series that was called All Out War.
Yeah.
and that's where they're at right now.
That's irrelevant. And I don't know if I liked your theory when it shows Carol sitting next to the cinder block and she sees a flower, and you're like, maybe that's them subliminally putting, Carol, look at the flowers. It's like, no, Carol's too big of a badass. She can't die. She no.
That's how they are, though. That could be like some little sign that maybe she goes this season. But haven't you noticed they kind of? It seems like they kind of wipe out a main character every year.
But there's a lot of them who have become main characters, and there's a few that have gained more respect for it, and one that I just lost a lot of respect for in last night's episode. But
and that's how the show is, because then you'll see characters come that eventually become main characters. You know, like
that is true.
That's the beautiful thing about the show, because like when you look at, like, I saw this picture of every character that has died in the show. Mm. And there's a lot of them. There's a lot that you forget.
There's a ton, even from Woodbury, from the jail. From
like, you remember Andrea, like a lot of big characters too. Like
Daryl had a brother at some point.
Merle, yeah, good old Merle. You know, like there's I mean, it's crazy.
Who is now Mary Poppins in another theoretical theater movie thing. Which I love.
Mary Poppins, yeah.
But no, I liked the climax to how they were being subtle of, okay, we don't quite know what's going on, and how when it was one of the scenes was Morgan, Carol, and Tara, where they're like, well, wait, get that walker, because it's like, and then that's when you knew that they were setting up traps, because it's like, wait, why are they so concerned about this one that's getting too close to that?
And that was what Rick. Okay, so what was awesome, so they all pulled up with armored vehicles creating the barriers, and they all kind of like they really surprised Negan at Sanctuary, but Negan, being the charismatic badass that he is, he comes out like, oh, sorry, I was in a meeting, you know, like doesn't even look surprised, or he's just not even phased. But what finally phased him was that explosion goes off in the distance. And that was when Rick was like, "Okay, it worked." He's got this smirk, and then Negan's like, "You know, well, something's going on." And then Rick's is like, "Yeah, all your lieutenants." And you could tell that was like this look on Negan's face, like you were like, "Oh,"
because he saw where the black smoke was too. So he's like, you know, he has an idea of the area that it's.
And for a minute, I thought the same thing was going to happen that happened at the end of last season, because Negan even tried giving that same speech again, you know, like, oh, you remember that guy Rick that thought he knew stuff but didn't really know stuff? He tried saying that kind of same thing again, but in reality, this time it was
who's bigger,
whose member is bigger than his.
It's me, by the way, and it's like, yeah, that really was you in that Polaroid shot. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Something's gonna come of that. Like,
oh god,
something's gonna like.
I loved that
because that's weird for him to take that. So Rick finally had Negan. I mean, he was stumbling around, he was hiding behind that dumpster, he was unloading on him, and he had the chance.
But before that, it was Negan pulled out the guy that was in the Gregory pulled out Gregory and was like, now you tell all your people to go. And he still thinks he has some kind of control.
He thought he still had sway over him.
And the way that Maggie stepped in and was like, do you see any of them leaving? And then Jesus says,
I really thought they were going to leave.
I thought so for a half a second, but when it showed them glare at each other, they're like, he's not our leader anymore. He's not in it for us anymore.
And I like how Jesus was like, they're all behind Maggie.
And it was like a half a second later that Jesus was like, we stand by Maggie. And that's when they're like, yeah, we do. And it was just beautiful, because then Gregory's like, oh shit. And then what's his name, not Negan, but the one next to him was like, I trusted you, I thought you had all this power.
Oh, it's Simon, because Simon's been the one that he has been the one handling Hilltop the whole time. And Gregory. Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, haha, he didn't have as much power as he thought he did. But I loved the surprise element.
Where is he even gonna go now after? We're gonna get to that when that happened, but
yeah, I love the surprise element that was consistent, and it is anxiety season, again.
It is
It
because like
is
we've said
like,
before, we said it before, like in last season's
mm,
podcasts, but we watch
yeah.
this show like holding our breath.
Mm,
We literally don't finally start breathing until there's a commercial break.
exactly, because it's like I even told you last night. I can feel the pit, the bottomless pit in the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of my stomach. That's just it's growing. It's a black like, what's gonna happen?
Mm-hmm. And
And
it was nice this weekend because, like, like I watched, like we said, we
mm,
watched so much of the reruns,
mm,
so it got us like back into that world. And then it was funny, like literally right when that last episode's credits was rolling, and we were literally seconds away from the season premiere. I was just like, "Oh God, here we go!" Like
that's
new episode,
yeah.
like because we had been watching episodes all weekend where we
Mm,
know what was going to happen,
yeah.
so you can kind of rest easy that you know
Mm,
what happened. But this is when you have no effing
yeah.
clue what the hell's going to happen. So
Yeah.
you're like,
I know when it was showing the season finale before the season premiere, I'm like, well, wait, it's already. Wait, oh, oh my God, it's okay. Glued to the TV.
I
Like
kind of want
I
to.
went a solid 3 hours without a cigarette, whereas at home I
Yeah,
usually
you
vape.
did. Yeah.
But it was intense, and I just I loved how when Negan was like, "Oh, you think you're a step ahead," and as Negan's being so cocky about it, he's thinking that they're gonna bombard him at one of the lookouts. That's when he sees one of the explosions. That's when you see Daryl at work where he's riding the bike.
And that was the beautiful thing about
Mm-hmm.
this episode was the tables were flipped so
Oh
hard on
God, I
this, like,
loved
and you
it.
could tell Rick was loving it. Negan was hating because Negan was still trying to do like because
Mm-hmm.
he's had Rick under his boot
For
for
countless.
a season and a half or however long it's
Mm-hmm.
been, but and so he thought, like you said, his cockiness, his arrogance. He thought he was still in that situation. He doesn't know what's been going on. All his like
No.
you said, all his lookouts are taken out. And you know what I liked after that sanctuary raid? Remember, they immediately hit that other
Mm-hmm.
place. Like they went to that other little kind of like outpost looking kind of thing,
Outpost,
that
yeah.
building.
Outpost.
So like
Mm-hmm.
they're not, they're hitting him hard, because they hit
They
sanctuary. Then
made it blatantly clear they're not fucking around no more.
no,
Like it.
no, it's all out
Yeah.
war. We didn't get to see any of the scavengers. We didn't see any of them, so we don't really know.
Yeah. We
But
the heapsters.
in the small part of Talking Dead I saw, she was on it, the one
Mm-hmm.
that plays Jada,
Mm-hmm.
and she said something in it that she's kind of in her character, is in a unique position because now she has two people after her. So I kind of think Negan's like pissed at him too.
Probably because I think there's a good chance that they just parted ways
Well,
because
you could tell like it was kind of rocky anyways. Because remember
yeah.
when Negan had Rick and Carl, they were like renegotiating for a second there. Remember, like, and
Mm-hmm.
he even said remember Negan even called them like dirty garbage people or whatever. And she like looks at him and he's like, no offense, but
Right. Which is interesting because it's like if Negan has to have control over everybody and everybody is Negan, why isn't she? It's I just
that
I
isn't what that was. He wasn't
well
recruiting them,
I
but
know they wanted them for numbers and to turn in the inside. I
you
get
know
like
what? You know what
that,
I
but
get? You
it's
know what? Now
like
that I think about it, he was probably looking at them as another community like Rick, like Hilltop. Because you know how he has people he brings in under him that calls themselves Negan and everything. But
yeah,
then he has the other communities that they control.
that yeah, because it was for a
He
while
would
when
look
we
at him
first
like a
yeah,
Hilltop
that's right
or a
because
kingdom because
yeah.
they do the kingdom thing too.
Exactly, because at first, when we were introduced to the kingdom and the hilltop, we didn't realize that the kingdom and the hilltop were both dealing with Negan
And the Riverside.
and Riverside.
Those are all
Yeah,
widows of a
yeah,
community that had dealt with Negan.
yeah. So that was big, but yeah, and
And that's how he's looking at him is
yeah. But the one character I am very disappointed in, which I was saying like pros and cons, and I've told you countless times, is near the end they shoot up the fire, they shoot up the guns and all this.
well,
Then Negan's
Sanctuary,
like,
yeah. We
yeah,
kind of have to mention Sanctuary got
it,
ramsacked. They
yes,
blew up the front gate with the RV bomb, and
yes.
there's walkers everywhere.
They turned the RV into a big explosion and had it run into the front doors, and everybody's starting to run for cover. What lieutenants and Negan were there, but it was, um, It was oh god, how did I just forget his name?
Father Gabriel was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was Father Gabriel that was able to pull Rick back to
Oh
where
yeah,
he
yeah,
needed to
yeah, yeah. We
be.
got to mention that
Yeah,
because that was when he
because this is
had,
getting into where he took the Polaroid.
yeah,
But
yeah. That's where I was going with it because this is when he had Negan like trapped behind the dumpster and he was unloading on him,
yeah,
and he was because there
he
was
was
that
keeping him in the
there
one
was that
spot.
little space where he can see him moving in there, and you could tell he was like firing, he was
Yeah,
focusing because he had a full auto machine gun, but he was just taking little pot shots because you
yeah,
could tell he was trying to hit accurate shots in there.
yeah.
But Gabriel ripped him off, and then it was weird because then Rick jumps back in with a Polaroid, takes a picture of him. So I'm curious to
Clearly,
see what's going to come with
Negan
that.
behind, Negan in a position you wouldn't think you were going to see Negan
I bet how they're going to use it.
compared to
Rick's
last
going to like
season.
show it to him and be like,
Oh,
I had you, you know, like
it's gonna be one of those moments
it's going to
where
be
it's gonna be one of those moments where Negan saw Rick before he ever went to Alexandria, where he was just like gnarly
that we're almost
beard,
to that Rick
crazy.
again.
Yeah, we're getting right back into that Rick where even Negan was like, I would not have walked with that guy, and it's like, are you kidding me? He was that guy like 3 episodes ago, and it was yeah. But yeah, because he's getting carried away because he realizes that Negan's cornered in that one little spot and now's his chance. And Gabriel's like, we gotta go, because they knew one thing they did is in leading the herd of walkers is the walkers were drawing in closer that they needed to get out to not be bombarded by walkers. And so Gabriel's like, come on, we gotta go. Takes a Polaroid. He actually gets in the car and takes off, and then Gabriel was in the car ready to go and he sees Gregory. He doesn't know how Gregory treated Maggie.
You have to figure though. I mean, they all talk and everything. Like he probably has some extent of.
You would
Well, and then he obviously saw what Gregory just did work with Negan, so he knows he's someone on the other side of the fence, and he still helps him.
Which is pros and cons, because it's like, yeah, there's still a good side to you, Gabriel, and I know you want everyone to be okay and safe, but not Gregory. And the fact that he went out of his way to try and save him, and then he just cowardly runs away, gets in the car, and goes. It's like they just lost one of their armor vehicles that they're gonna need.
And Gabriel is...
And now we have no idea what's gonna happen to him. He's astray because he doesn't have the hilltop to go back to, and if he does, he's gonna be rejected. He doesn't know how to survive.
He
on
can't
his
go
own.
to Negan. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's not going to go back there.
Yeah. And so it's like he's gonna be like a lone wolf. Like he's probably just gonna disappear. Like, oh, what happened to him? Like that one guy that we still haven't seen, that was with Tara when they got separated.
Yeah, like what the hell happened to him?
What happened? Yeah, what's going on with that?
And remember, something is going on with that, because remember when Tara went back to where their RV was? Remember there was something on the ground, like a card, like a note or something that Heath had left.
It was something.
And I remember the Talking Dead after that episode. Scott Gimple was on that couch on that one,
and he
said something. It's something he said. It's something that will be in the future.
Yeah, it's something to come.
Yeah, and that was a long time ago.
And another thing I'm really curious about is what's gonna happen to all of the survivors, or because God, I can't think of names. It's too fresh. The one that makes bullets.
Eugene.
Yeah, because when you saw Eugene go into being Negan and part of Negan, there's a lot of saviors in there that they just keep from manual labor. There was a lot of saviors in there that don't know how to fight, don't fight, and are just
there is some. Yeah, there is some.
So when they drew in the walkers and busted down the doors, are they all gonna they significantly lost a lot of numbers in Negan because of that. They don't have any protection if they're not used to fighting walkers, and they're there just to...
This is kind of their way of kind of evening the numbers out, because that's been the whole thing with the Saviors and Rick's group, is they kept getting surprised by how vast how vast the Saviors actually are, like how many numbers there actually is.
There is one thing we're leaving out so far: the flashbacks to Rick's Is it a dream? Is it he wants it to
Yeah,
be?
yeah, yeah. We're
Is
gonna get to that, but one thing I wanted to mention about this episode real quick, since it was the 100th episode
Mhm.
and stuff like that, I liked all the little different subliminal nods that they kind of gave to the past of the show.
I loved that
Like there was
too.
a scene where Carl was at the gas station,
Hmm.
and it was very reminiscent of the pilot episode. And they even said in the Talking Dead after that that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a nod to the pilot episode.
Well, and I liked how at the end he leaves the food with
Hmm.
the whole sorry note, and then it shows that guy's still in the same area,
He's still there. Yeah.
and you know he's delusional. He has to be. He's
Well,
saying
remember
he
that's what he
hasn't.
was saying. He's saying I've been there
Yeah.
for days. That's why
True.
Carl went back there because he know he'd be still be in the same area.
Yeah. So that was. I kind of wonder if there's gonna be anything to come of him, or if he's gonna.
I think
be,
we're gonna see him again.
Yeah.
We'll see that character again.
There's something, but it just I could not believe.
Even if Carl finds him dead somewhere and
Mhm.
recognizes him,
Oh.
they'll still show him.
What I really liked was.
But like you said, the Carol with the flower, that was another nod. I mean,
Mhm.
they had all these other nods
Yeah.
to past episodes.
There was one bit though where, because leading up to the premiere, we had been watching like not necessarily conspiracy theories, but theories of what it could be or what could happen, and one of them was how maybe near the end of Walking Dead, the end isn't coming anytime soon, but what if it's all a story perceived by Carl's perspective, and so in the way that uh, Michonne said to Carl, because Rick made him stay at Alexandria,
Hmm.
she was like, "It's your show now."
I
like
caught that too.
How it's like, okay, your dad's gone, you're in charge of Alexandria.
Especially and then he did say something. What did he said something like I don't know about that, or no, I'm not in charge. And then she was even like, we'll see.
You notice they actually let Eden go, because she was at Sanctuary.
Yeah, Eden was there.
Yeah, you would think Carl must not have been happy with that. He'd been like, but what do you mean she gets to go and I don't?
He probably didn't know because she probably maybe left from Hilltop and he would have been in Alexandria.
That's true.
So he probably didn't even know.
Yeah.
We kind of haven't really seen too much interactions between the two of them.
No.
For a while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Because remember one of the remember he locked her in the closet that one time, and
yeah.
So I don't know. We haven't really seen stuff like that between them, but no, I know I do like that because it's funny because we've been seeing a lot of this stuff that like in the Walking Dead community, like a lot of these like theories and stuff going around of like when when that time comes, like how would they end it, and I kind of think like that's like what they were kind of nodding towards. So we were like we mentioned there was some.
It was a YouTube video we had watched where it was like a theory of, well, because if you are as big as fan or have any idea of any of the other conspiracy theories, it's when some of the trailers came out and it showed Rick with a beard in a bed and flowers, you're thinking, oh god, he just woke up from a coma and none of this is real.
Yeah, this was all in his coma
So
dream.
it kind of fed into that people were like, oh, this and this and that, and then Carl being the storyteller after all was the most recent one, because it was like a telling of him older, talking like about. Yeah,
I would love the old man Carl theory. That would be so awesome to see that one play out.
It would be.
But yeah, in this, so I was kind of surprised that we got to that point in the first episode, because
I was shocked. I was not.
So it was kind of like
that.
it was like a dream sequence kind of thing, and like you said, I think what it is I think it's him envisioning what he's fighting for. He's reminding himself. But like she said, it's him. You could definitely tell it's in the future. Like it's a lot of time has passed. He's older. His hair's grayer and shorter. His beard's longer and grayer. And there's even an older Judith.
Yes, there is an older Judith. But you notice each time it went into his what I would just consider fantasy of what he would want the world to be, where him, Michonne, Carl, and everything is good. It was only doing flashback, well, not necessarily flashbacks, but just little sneak peeks of this and that, but each time it went in or out of that scene, you noticed it would show him with his eyes red, and then it would show like the stained painted glass reflection. But what I just realized they could probably do it like is when the kid dies and Morgan freaks out and kills one of the guys from the kingdom in front of him. You notice at the beginning of that episode they showed the watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was throughout and then by the time you watch the end of the episode, so what if it's something like that where wherever he's at with the stained glass could be halfway through the season leading up to
that's what
why he's
well, remember I said that at some point last night. That's what this overall arc thing is going to be. And yeah, and like what you're saying, like that shot it keeps showing, you know, when it's like close on his eyes, you can tell like I don't know, I mean you could tell he looks roughed up, like, you know, like he's in a bad spot. So I'm trying to think like where if we have seen any of that stained glass anywhere. Like it kind of looks like
the only place I can think of is Riverside.
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of reminded me of that area.
Because that's the one
so
spot
like I'm
Negan
trying to think why it would
at.
be there. Like why? Because we know we're gonna see that community again. Like they're gonna end up back at Riverside at some point.
Oh yeah, by far. And that's one spot that Negan wasn't aware about, because when they killed all of their fathers and sons and
they've been in hiding.
You know, it's like they've been very overprotective of anybody coming anywhere close to them.
Yeah, because the leader there wanted to kill Tara when she came through because she didn't want anyone to know. Which, in hindsight, she probably had a point, because Tara comes back later with her group and steals all their guns. So
yeah, and then the heapsters get away with them, and I can't stand.
They're like the wild card, right? Because now they're, you know, both Rick and Negan are pissed at him. So it's like, I don't know. I want to say I think they'll fall in line with Rick's group at some point. Like I think Negan's gonna do something bad. Like he's gonna take Lucille onto one of them, and it's gonna drive her to side with Rick or something. You know,
which is
like I can see that.
Yeah, because in the chaos of Gregory getting in the car and driving off and leaving Gabriel, he found his way into a trailer that just so happened to be where Negan found.
Yeah, we didn't really mention that part. Yeah, so it ended with Gabriel trapped in a trailer with Negan, and the trailer's swarmed by walkers too. So they're trapped in there together.
Yeah, and the first thing you hear when Gabriel gets into the trailer is, "I hope you got your
pooping pants on."
Right,
and then he's even like, "Why?" Because you're gonna poop your pants.
Right, and it's like, Gabriel, why did you do that? I mean, like, you were such a coward in the beginning.
I think he's gonna be gone.
I think he is too, because it's even on Talking Decay. He looked
Talking Dead.
Yeah, I shouldn't be allowed to function anymore. But even on Talking,
because okay, so the Talking Dead was live.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they've already filmed, I'm pretty sure at this point they filmed pretty much the whole season. Mm-hmm. So they're there and they know everything that's happened, but obviously they're only talking about this one episode. And when it came to the is it Seth Gilliam, is that his name? The guy that plays Gabriel. They were talking to him, and even though he was only talking about
the show,
just something, just a conversation from the first one, something in him, he just looked really emotional talking about the show and just being there. So I think he goes, like, and he probably
so too. But I know it is an actor's job to not portray any kind of thing like that, because I mean, it's like you're,
because I know a lot of people read into it,
which I won't be surprised if people do more so, kind of like we have. Mm-hmm. But he seemed a little distraught. If it wasn't him soon being killed off in the show, it could maybe just be something personal outside in his real world life.
Okay, I want to ask you this though. So when we realize he's trapped in there with Negan and the camera's panning out,
you can hear noises.
You kind of hear, like, a bang? Is it a bang or like a gunshot bang? Like,
Well,
do you think? Okay, so next episode or next time we see him, do you
mhm.
think it's gonna start right off like he's gone, or do you think, like you said, I think you said yesterday,
He
you said
might try
last
to
night,
use him as a
use him
tool,
as leverage. So I think we'll see him alive again. I don't think it's
but
just gonna be like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
I
he's dead. By the way, no, I think
I
I don't
agree.
think he killed him. I don't think he hit him.
I don't think so because he had
Did he even have Lucille?
yeah
Did we
he
see
had
him? He
yeah
had Lucille with him,
he
huh?
had Negan had Lucille, but Gabriel had the gun still.
Oh yeah, he did. He had his gun
He
still,
did
but
still have the gun because when it first starts to pan away and go into the just
maybe
the
that's what the
end
bangs are. They're
credits,
fighting. Yeah, maybe
it
it started
is
a fight.
because it. I thought I first heard gunshots, and then when you were even made a comment like, "Did you hear that?" It was like, "Wait, is that Lucille swinging around, or was it
But
gun?"
it was such a
But
weird bang. It
you,
almost seemed like it could have just been in the music too.
yeah, that's true too. But there's definitely something, and I think with how he redeemed himself compared to how he was when we were first introduced to Gabriel,
Well,
I
he's
don't
done
think,
this,
yeah,
remember? Because he even had that moment in Alexandria when he betrayed the
yeah,
group, and
exactly,
he's done this so many times.
and pros and cons. Like, he's redeemed himself, and then he's fallen back down, and then he's
Mm.
redeemed himself, and he's fallen back
He's
down.
been
Whereas
awesome
like
for a while though. Like,
Him and Dwight, or and even Eugene, like those
God,
three,
Eugene too.
just go from like whatever benefits them the most, or whatever's best for their survival. And it's like you guys kind of got to be a little more PowerPoint instead of pawns. I don't think Negan would. Well, it's like I said. I think he would use him as a tool, but I don't think it would be a very strong tool because of him not. It like say you put Michonne in there, that's a much bigger tool
God, yeah.
than Gabriel for Negan to have. So
But
they,
after this attack, Negan's pretty chicken.
oh yeah,
Like they kind of kicked out one of his legs, like
yeah,
his foundation, like four-legged foundation. They kind of kicked out like one
yeah.
of the legs.
It's
Uh, so I think I think we will see him use him as leverage to some extent
in any
because
way that he could.
because he's gonna need something.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting to see like what what I think is gonna happen to Sanctuary. Like I bet they'll get the walkers under control and like they'll still be at Sanctuary.
Well, and it's
They're gonna have to put up some fences and stuff. Yeah,
I'm really
because they messed Sanctuary up.
yeah they really did by far but it's like the preview to next week. We're so
I
close.
don't really remember
to,
the preview.
I remember it was them pulling out another plan of something, and Carol was saying that we're so close that if we, at this time, we're done. We won't succeed. So you know, tensions are rising. I really was not expecting it to start as a full on battle. I thought it was gonna start with plans of okay, you're here, this is what it's like here, okay, we're there, this is what it's like there, but instead it started with just straight up battle.
Yeah, like I said before, even before the first commercial, they were, it got into it fast,
Yeah.
which is refreshing, really, because I mean, there has been so many times in Walking Dead where they kind of where it's a slow burn, leading up to something.
They haven't actually done a season premiere right from like the start of war since Terminus. Because remember when the Terminus season ended?
That was one of the best premieres. That one was so intense.
That one was incredible because
it went to the opening credits with that explosion. Like that was so awesome. Like how they did that.
I love Carol for that because Rick had sent her away and she knew what she needed to do.
That was one of her most like badass
glorious
moments. Yeah, that's like one of her best moments she's had.
And see, then the one after that, where it ended with the lineup of okay, who gets the Battle of Lucille before Glenn and Abraham got it. Before we found out that they were the ones that got the Lucille and everything, but it had ended with that cliffhanger of, and then it just dragged on. It was so depressing that season, that first half where Negan just had control. It was. I am super excited for this season and the all-out war of them fighting back, showing and doing what we know they can do and what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be very suspenseful to see how they pull it off.
Yeah, we got off to a good start.
A very good start.
Like I don't think it was like one of the best season premieres. You know, like if I had to pick like a best season premiere, probably just that Terminus one. Yeah, that Terminus one was so good.
But if you had to think of a good season finale.
Well, I know one of my most favorite episodes ever was actually the season. I think it was the season 4 mid-season finale, and that's when Governor.
That one.
When the prison fell. So yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's the best way of saying it. It's when the prison fell. I don't think that's. I know. There's another episode that's kind of like my favorite episode now, but I can't like remember what it is. I don't think it was the. I don't think it was the last season's premiere, the Glenn and.
I don't know.
That you would think that one would almost be like my favorite premiere too, just because of how good it is, just because that emotional aspect. Like, not many shows can make you feel like that. Like,
that's one thing I have learned in my experience of obsessing about shows like Doctor Who and The Walking Dead. Is it's an infamous line that I will never stop saying. It may only be a show, but the emotional damage is real. It gives me anxiety like none other watching the show, and I'm like, oh my god, and then commercial, I'm like, okay, remember to breathe. Oh my god, it's back on. Oh my god, what's it's kind of hard for a show. It goes to show how amazing it is because it grips into those emotions that not all shows are,
and that's like what I said last season. After that last season premiere, like the world didn't seem right for like months, like a month.
I remember my coworker had just gotten his girlfriend into the show, and it's so incredible and it's so amazing. She finally gets hooked, and then it's that depressing half a season where it's like, I swear it was better than this. It's gonna turn around, and it's like it's not this depressing, and it was just like, oh, I know, it was just so heartaching, and then seeing them come back so strong in the beginning, like right off the bat, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say. That was my biggest takeaway from this episode. Is that we like we said earlier, we finally got to see the roles switch. We finally got to see Rick.
And there was one other that stayed at Alexandria with Michonne, because you notice when, like we were saying, Michonne had turned to Carl, was like, it's your show.
Rosita stayed,
and she's just rocking in the chair, which
why they did it in the real world is because the actress had just had a baby,
which was a very odd name, but I don't remember the name that she said on Talking.
She did say the name, and I remember it was kind of a different name. I don't remember what it was. Did she say Wolf, or was it? No, not Wolf.
I don't remember. I just know it was one of those awkward.
Yeah, it was
not necessarily awkward.
It was different. It was a different name.
That wasn't the right word. Probably more like unique. But she just recently had a baby. And
I didn't really hear him say, like, in the show, like, why the reason in the show why she was left, like narrative wise, like canon wise.
Narrative wise, it didn't really say anything. It in the part that it did show her,
I think it was
show her talking. It just showed them watching them leave, and she's rocking in the chair. Like,
I bet it's just so she can help protect Alexandria, because they have to keep some people there in case something happens. You know, they can't just.
Exactly, but it was kind of funny to see the backstory on Talking Dead, where she was one of the first ones to come out, and she was telling the director right after she had the kid, "Give me 2 weeks, I'll be right back. I'll be back to normal." And he's like, "Whoa, wait!" And she gets there, and it just it works out because
it happened with Tara. Tara had recently had a kid too, in real life.
And they hid Rosita's pregnancy so much better than they did Tara's, but then at the same time, the pregnancies were at a different time in filming, because I remember when Tara was still pregnant in real life.
Well, those actresses both
Yeah.
have two different body types from each other too,
True,
though.
but you could see.
But you could
They
see
would
the weight
try,
on Tara.
yeah.
Like you could see it. Like I even noticed that. I'm like, because remember I even started saying I think she's pregnant, and then we saw her on Talking Dead, and oh yep,
Yeah.
she is.
She was. Whereas Rosita, but then it's like it's hard to tell because, like you said, every woman has different body types, and it's completely different for each. To each their own.
Yeah.
But it could have also been during filming, off season lineup. Like
Yeah.
that could have thrown it off too. But
I think it's crazy with how good the special effects and how much like post production stuff they actually have in this show. They film it in the summer, and then it already starts airing like right now. Like that's and it's 16 episodes.
Yeah.
In a season, because they film the full thing.
Well,
because they split. There's an A season and a B season, 8 episodes each. But I think they film all. I don't think it's like film 8 in the summer and then like the other 8 like right now, and then it'll air in February.
They might.
Maybe they do.
Because I don't think
I've always just heard it in summer.
Not to, because if they film what's in the summer and that's what they're playing, then where do they get the time to do what's playing after the mid-season?
I don't know. I've always heard film schedules in summer. Like I've never heard them talk about filming in the fall or winter.
Maybe they do just film it all.
I think they film it all.
I think they do film
I know,
it all.
For instance, I used to know the NCIS film schedule really well. That is an hour episode. Now, not as much effects go into a show like NCIS as much as there is in Walking Dead, but they would have a 9-day film cycle per episode. So it would take 9 days to shoot an episode.
That's
Walking Dead might be, I don't know, but I've also heard them on Talking Dead talking about like 15-hour shoot days.
Yes, they can have long days.
They do 12, 15-hour. Yeah, they do long days. So maybe they can sandwich. So if like a show like NCIS is like a 9-day film cycle, then maybe Walking Dead, if they're working that types of hours, maybe they can. 6-7 day cycle. Maybe?
I would maybe think they start at the beginning of summer because
they do. It's really early on.
When they first use a big explosion of Daryl using the cannon, to draw the walkers into the flame. I remember watching behind the scenes on Talking Dead how hot it was. And near the end of the summer, it's not near as hot as it is beginning to midsummer.
No, I know
I would think they film it.
I know they start like right at the end of spring, beginning of summer, because I've seen stuff on like tweets and Instagram and stuff where it's like, we're filming. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so I would go with the theory that they film it all at once and then do the first.
They
half
start
season,
probably like April or May.
Second. Possibly.
Like let's even just say April, May, June, July, August, September. I mean, even if it's just to like August or September, that's about 4 or 5 months, and then that'll give you a month of post production before October. So that works. That's probably what it is. That's probably right there. I think they do film all 16 though. I don't think they film 8 and then film like the other 8 right now. Yeah. Like I don't think they do that because you always hear it about filming is grueling down there in the summer. You never hear fall mentioned or winter or anything.
I do. I am so excited for this new season. It started off on the right foot and it felt good. It felt right. Yeah. It felt incredible.
And we all know 8 is my number and this is the 8th season, so
that's true. That is true. Although I'm not, I know we said there's spoilers obviously, but this one was the picture you saw when we went to Barnes and Noble. I would hope.
Yeah,
that's not.
That's the only kind of sacred thing that we won't talk about is stuff that we accidentally see in the comics. Sometimes that hasn't happened in the show yet, or hasn't gotten to that point.
We'll see.
But yeah, we were at our local bookstore this weekend, and
we got carried away looking at.
I just opened just the first page, and I saw something I didn't want to see, and you want to know what crossed my mind though? okay, you know how sometimes we've seen it a lot of times in the show too that, okay, so sometimes they follow exactly with the comics, but sometimes they might do a death or a scene from the comics, but then in the show it's to someone else. Like, for instance, Herschel's leg cut off. In the comics, that was
Yeah.
Dale.
Yeah, that is very true.
So
And
maybe what I
Dale
saw. Okay, so
wasn't.
maybe what I saw. Maybe that's Gabriel.
Ooh,
I could see them trading that.
I could. That is an interesting. I wonder. That is a very good
If that
point.
comes to pass, we will mention it in a future episode what we're talking about because we just don't want
If
to.
it works out that way, then we'll go. Hey, reference our season premiere talk, second episode of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you
But
really want to see, I don't remember what issue that was. I think it was one of the newest ones
it
though.
was, yeah.
First page of that. It wasn't the smaller issues either. It was the
Mhm.
books. It was the bigger books.
Yeah.
And I think it was the most recent one of that. But
Well, see, it's like that's where you know you're gonna find spoilers because
I know, but I just opened just one page,
yeah,
the first page. It was literally like the
yeah.
first panels too.
Mm.
So you know what it was is I bet the last book ended with
that
happening, and then that was the start.
with the climax up to it. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I just hope it doesn't happen to him.
I am so excited for this season though. Like unlike the beginning of last season where it's just so depressing and it was like
Yeah, it was like, oh god, here we go. Oh no.
What's going on? Why are you fighting back? Like,
And
how are you bending over like this?
And remember, that's what it was. This time last year, after the season premiere last year, that's exactly what it was. Like, where the hell are they going to go from here? Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
you
it
know?
didn't even feel like The Walking Dead for a while. So I am just so relieved and so happy that last night's episode went off with a big boom of just boom, we're fighting back, we're on track.
Yeah.
And you know throughout the season is gonna have its ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
But I am super excited to see following episodes and how it's going, where it's going to go and how it's gonna go, because it's like it started out with the war. Like you didn't you weren't expecting them to be able to.
I was kind of expecting it to lead up to it over a couple episodes or something.
Yeah, I was not expecting them to knock out every single lookout point, not to rig explosions for where Negan would have had his guys go to get them. And not only that, but to lead all of the walkers to Sanctuary. It's
like I said,
like
that's the best way.
Icing on the cake to, okay, I forgive you for making me feel so sad about last season's first half season.
I don't know, that was pretty bad. I still don't know if I forgive him for it.
It was really, this season I think was this season premiere was its redemption.
Yeah, this
for me anyways.
Yeah, this was a good one, and like you, I'm stoked for the rest of the season too. So,
what do you think's to come?
I don't know. That's pretty much like what you're just saying. You know, we're getting into this war, and that's what it's going to be. You know, it's going to have these ups and downs of Rick kicking ass, of Negan kicking ass, and
I hope Negan don't find out that Dwight gave away the lookout points. And
he's too smart. He's gonna catch on. Like,
I hope not.
I have a feeling we might lose. I have a feeling we'll probably lose Dwight this season. I wouldn't be surprised.
And are we going to see Dwight's wife?
And we're gonna see her again.
She's gonna have to pop up again somewhere.
She has to. I don't know. I almost said she had too big of a part to just kind of
fall off.
Just let her just disappear. I mean, yeah, they're not scared of bumping characters off the chessboard, but normally they do that by him getting killed instead of just disappearing.
I would just hope that for the sake of Dwight having some kahunas, that if or when Negan addresses it to, oh hey, you gave him the lookout points, I would hope Dwight doesn't just fall on his knees and bend over and get an iron, like, because Negan is knocked down quite a bit, but he's still
I
pretty
didn't think
high up
about
there.
that. Negan is going to
That
catch on that someone would have, so he has a
yeah,
mole on the inside. He's going to have to know that.
he's gonna figure that one out, and I
And
just
it's
hope.
gonna be partly his ego that's gonna get to that point because he's gonna be like, Rick has never dominated me like that. How did he do this? Like,
I would just hope that Dwight goes down with dignity instead of cowardness.
you wanna know what though? He's gonna expect Eugene over Dwight. And remember how last season ended? He was already a little hesitant on Eugene.
So that's an even bigger dilemma. Is now Negan's not sure if it was Eugene or Dwight.
I don't think he has any questions with Dwight yet though,
I wonder
because
if
he really thinks Dwight is like his like number two.
and Dwight and Eugene aren't on the same page. Eugene doesn't know that Dwight helped them. Dwight doesn't know that Eugene.
I didn't think of that. Dwight and Eugene, you would think would kind of be working together of helping Rick and them, but
Dwight knows Eugene came from Alexandria and was originally with them, and knows what he became when he was welcomed into Sanctuary and how he was praised for being so smart, and he knows how to build all this,
I think Dwight's being smart though because he knows Eugene would give him up.
He knows, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I didn't think of that. Now it's gonna be, so it's not quite crystal cut.
Because Eugene's the type, like, once again, let's hypothetically say Negan caught a bullet in his forehead in this episode. Eugene would just be like,
but
"Hey, I was just playing," to Rick, like.
Well, yeah, but when would Negan have given the opportunity for Eugene to know where the lookout points are at?
I don't know. I mean, obviously we haven't seen that, but you also have to figure, there's stuff going on that you don't see.
Well, yeah, true.
Like I said, Gabriel probably, I mean, he knows who Gregory is. He knows he's
I think
piece of crap.
I'm
pretty
leaning
much
towards Negan trying to use him as a tool in some way or another.
We're gonna see him, but don't be surprised if.
I really have to say I loved Negan's Gabriel's introduction to Negan, because Negan popped into Alexandria for the first time, and the first thing he says to Gabriel is, "You are creepy at that smile on your face," and I loved
Gabriel on that part.
I loved Gabriel for that, because it's like, do you not realize who you're smiling to?
He was the one that actually told him that Maggie was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rick went along with it, but it was Gabriel that said it first. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The widow is alive.
And it guns a-blazing, he says. He's like, that widow is alive with guns a-blazing.
Yep. So much.
I love Negan in that because all hell's breaking loose and he's still just having so much fun. Like, you can tell he's just like, oh my, that's a tiger.
And he's just flipping them off as they're shooting.
Yeah, he's driving off and they're shooting on the side that he's at and he's still hanging his fist out, flipping them off. Like,
I think this is going to be a very good season.
I want to mention this too. You said, what do I think is going to happen this season? Here's my biggest hope this season. I really hope we get a Negan flashback episode.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
Which I think we will get at some point, because there recently was an issue or a book in the comics that came out called Here's Negan, that it was his backstory, and then when the outbreak started. So I think we will. I mean, Negan is too much of a loved character right now, and I don't spend a lot of time in Walking Dead forums or anything like that, but obviously I'm gonna start paying attention to that more. But you would have to think, I bet a lot of fans want that episode too.
Oh yeah, by far. I think that would probably be on the top 5 biggest ultimatums of backstory on a character that's gonna be.
Because we've seen Michonne, we obviously know Rick and Carl's, Daryl's,
and it was even seeing the way that Negan reacted to Judith when he realized they had that was you saw something in Negan from
you kind of got glimpses,
apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I really, I would really hope we get a Negan backstory. That would be awesome.
That would be such a good one.
You love to hate him because Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an amazing actor.
He's incredible.
He's too good sometimes. So yeah, That's one thing I would hope for. There was something else I was gonna say. I don't know if I remember.
Yeah, might have to hold it until next week.
It was one of my like hopes of
this season, or
yeah. I don't know. I might not remember.
I'm trying to think. I mean, was it anything to do with like the flashback or not flashbacks, but
it was close to, because I loved when that they had a short brief moment where they had gotten a new crowd introduced and some of them stuck around, some of them didn't, but it was when they first started doing backstories of, so what did you do before the apocalypse?
Oh yeah.
And it was like you see those memes where it's like we all know what Daryl did before the apocalypse, and it was just like the whole "in shepherds we shall be," and I loved that meme of eat a Snickers. Why? You get a little emotional when you're hungry, and then it's like "in shepherds we shall be." I feel like this episode was redemption for, not necessarily redemption, but
this was Rick eating the Snickers. This is the real Rick.
Yeah, exactly. And it was Daryl showing that even though he may have been broken, he's coming back strong, and he couldn't be happier that things are working out. Because seeing him on his bike and just shooting each thing that they needed to have the black smoke go up.
Like, that like that's what I was saying. Like beautiful. That was my biggest takeaway from this episode. Like I said, it was like it was awesome. We were seeing, this was the first time that we saw like the Hilltop, Alexandria, and the Kingdom all together. Mm-hmm. Like they were clicking on all cylinders. Yeah. And there was like a really quick brief moment where one of the Hilltops was talking to one of the Kingdoms, and he's like, she said something, and he's like, "Don't worry, I got your back." And she's like, "Really? You just met me?" And he's like, "We all just met each other."
I loved how they did that, because they showed like the crowd of, and I love how what's his name from the Kingdom gave his
Jerry
gave his forearm
guard to Eden
to
put on her chest.
It is like, that's great.
I love Jerry, and you know he's one of those characters. He's gonna go at some point, but
I wouldn't want him to.
No,
he's just
Jerry
so
is awesome,
and he's so happy, and you know he just has a smile on his face even in combat. He's like, "All right, got it handled. Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna laugh and make you." You know, it's just.
And that's the unfortunate thing, is characters like that don't last in this world. And that's like what I said with Gabriel. It's the same thing that plagued Glenn, was you can't have a heart in the apocalypse. And that,
well, and it's about damn time that Carol came around to where she needed to be, and that her and Morgan are on the same page. Because I think what really pushed Morgan over the edge was losing Ben. Mm-hmm. And then that's when he started to see more of Carol's view, and I thought it is just Carol, Tara, and Morgan together made an excellent.
I like the Morgan right now too. Yeah, like
I love Morgan and Carol together. Like those two just know how to get it handled, and they have such amazing aspects from each. That I don't know. I don't even know what I hope for by the end of this season. Because I never read the comics, so I don't know where it's gonna go. I know there is one thing that you've discussed about Negan, and so it'll be interesting if it gets to that point. But I don't know what I hope for. I am just super stoked for the rest of the season to just be surprised and have that element of, oh my god, I don't know what's going on until the week before.
All right. Yeah, all right, so that will do it this week.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're back. So we're back in that in the Walking Dead season. So we will have this podcast every Monday at, I guess, 10 we're going to be going for. It's gonna be 9 or 10. Like we'll try and keep you updated on Twitter and stuff. It's in that range. I mean, I'm streaming before anyways, so you can just drop by and you know, and watch the stream, and then we'll get into the Walking Dead podcast every Monday.
Exactly. And some nights I'm more tired than I am on other nights, but this is usually around the time that we go to bed anyways. That, I mean, it's like we shot for 9:30 and ended up at 10. So if we don't do it at 9 or 9:30, you can expect it at least 10. Because I know that would be like let's hurrying, there's 11, then bed. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 10, but some nights we'll probably try to do 9 to 9:30. If I'm super exhausted and already passed out.
Right. All right, and you can follow her on Instagram at Fuchsia Only. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd48, and you can catch the streams live every day at twitch.tv/SoldierOnly. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button if you like the video. Sub to the channel for more content, and you can email the show if you have any questions, comments, or any discussions, anything you want to add to it, theories,
opinions.
You can email the show at soldierfuchsiaonlyshow@gmail.com. I need to start putting that up so I can put it on the bottom of the screen. I'll do that on the next one. Actually, I'll have all the links down below if you're watching this on YouTube, down in the description.
And if you tune in for the stream, we'll actively be reading the comments as well if you guys are up to date and everything. If you anything at all, any opinions or feedback or anything at all, we'll keep up with that too.
And then we have our other podcast, our gaming and our nerdcast, you could pretty much say, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time at the same twitch.tv/SoldierOnly channel.
Everything and anything, really.
Yeah. All right, so thanks for watching. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Deuces.